Alright, so this is my own personal bike build. So starting off, the frame is the Marin Alpine Trail XR, and I'm gonna build it up to be a Slopeduro build. So starting off, I'm just gonna tighten up the wheel set to make all my spokes have a lot of tension in them, because I don't like compliance. And then I'm gonna do my bar spin modification. So I'm gonna cut a notch into the star nut, and to do this I'm just putting it with the top cap screw into the vise. Then I'm just gonna take a round file and file the teeth of the star nut down until I reach the threaded part, as you can see right here. And then to install it, I'm gonna use a star nut installer tool, because when you have this little notch, it is very easy to make to install the star nut crooked. So this helps a great deal with especially when you have this mod. And as you can see here, it's perfectly in the middle and the right depth, so it's very useful. And I'm removing the hardware from the front brake hose so that I can feed it through this little hole. It can be quite tricky to get it through the hole, but once it's through forever, so you just have to take your time and look. And then I'm just gonna install the caliper onto the forks. So these forks are the Manitou Mezzer Pros. I got them for a great deal, and I've just been trying them out, and I actually quite like them. They're very stiff and quite light. And now I'm just gonna cut my bars down to my preferred width. So I like to run my bars at 740 millimeters. It's very helpful when you do tricks, especially bar spins. And also when I have full 800 width bars, I hold my hands a long distance in from the bar end, so it actually doesn't matter to me. If I have a wide bar, I would just hold it where I like it, and that's right around 740 millimeters. So now I'm just deburring the edges, and now I'm gonna grease up the steer tube and then grease up the headset cups. And install the headset and the fork. So these Marin Alpine Trail XR frames have this little plastic part in the headset that enables it to have the fork angle to be adjusted. And so that's, if you're wondering what that little beige part was, that was that. And I'm just gonna install the stem and the bars, and then the top cap also has to have this little notch. And I would recommend not having just a hole, but actually making a notch, because then you can remove your forks without cutting down your brake hose every time, which is quite annoying. And I'm just gonna reinstall everything on my front brake. So the brakes I'm using are a pair of Sram Guide Ultimates with the carbon levers. They're quite old, I think they're from like 2018, but I've modified them with new hoses and everything, just like renovated them, and they work really good, and I love how the lever feels with the carbon fiber. So now I'm installing my cranks. So these are Shimano Dior cranks, 165 millimeters, and I'm running them with a 32 tooth chainring. It is quite a small chainring because I'm running a 32 to 16 at the back, so it's quite easy to pedal, but I haven't found that I need higher gear ratio, so I'm just gonna run it for now. Now I'm installing the tires on my wheels. So I'm running the Schwalbe dampf tires, tubeless. These are a 2.6 inch wide tire, quite wide, but they're actually a trail tire. So and it was quite a hassle to install them tubeless, because the tire didn't want to seat, so I had to do this little trick with the inner tube, and it got quite messy, as you can see. But now I'm just gonna wipe it down. So yeah, these trails tires are very wide and have a very large thread, but no casing, so it's quite strange. They're very light. And now I'm just installing my brake rotors. So these are the Sram HS2 brake rotors. I'm running 220 millimeters front and rear. They're very large, but they brake very good, so I don't complain. They're a little bit heavier, but I think that's a trade-off I can take for a lot more braking power. So now I'm installing my single speed kit from reverse. So if you're gonna do this yourself, you have to measure out the chain line to make it as straight as possible. I've already done this. It can be quite a hassle, but you get a lot of spacers in the reverse single speed kit, so it's very easy. And then I'm gonna just tighten the kit down. Now I'm installing the wheel in order to install the single speed chain tensioner. So this is the reverse colab chain tensioner. It's not the new reverse colab expert chain tensioner. So it has a bit of a lighter spring, very barely lighter, so it has a little bit more chain slap, but it's a lot cheaper. And one downside to this is it doesn't have the adjustment to change the derailleur's like angle. And then I'm installing my chain, so I'm running a 10 speed e-bike chain, because in my monkey brain I thought e-bike chain a lot more heavy duty, and then 10 speed also a lot more heavy duty, so I wouldn't have to change my chain as often. But as it is heavier, it generates a lot more chain slap, so that's one downside to this chain. So now I'm just installing my grips. These are BMX grips, I think they're from Mankind. And to install them I'm just using a bit of brake cleaner on the bars to make them slide very easy. So that's the build done. As you can tell, I changed the shock like right after I filmed the build, because I got this fast Fenix shock. So that makes the build, the end build being the Marin Alpine Trail XR frame set with reverse black one components all around. So the wheel set, the pedals, the saddle, the bars and the stem, and then SRAM guide ultimate carbon fiber brakes front and rear, and then Schwalbe dampf tires front and rear with the fast Fenix shock and the Manitou Mezzer up front. And then I'm running the Shimano Dior crankset. So here are a couple clips of me riding the bike. It's very playful and is very capable when doing tricks. Sorry for all the vertical clips. I realized I almost didn't have any horizontal clips. But here you can see a couple tricks I've been doing this summer. So it's actually really easy to spin this bike. So here I am at Kisa Bike Park doing their intense line to their new Anaheim line